Welcome back. This is part 3 of an infinite number of videos I'm going to do on the master budget for merchandising company. So previously, we did the sales budget and the cash receipts from customers budget. We've done the inventory purchases budget and the cash payments to suppliers budget. And now we're going to do the selling and administrative budget. Now, the selling administrative budget is extremely straightforward. You'll find no problems with this. You'll notice here we have the selling and admin stuff. Now, this may be 5 lines, this may be 50 lines. It depends on what your company has. I tried to make this one relatively straightforward in that 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 things. I also made a little mistake here, so I'm going to go ahead and fix my font here, I think, if my computer lets me. It may not let me. There we go. It's being fussy and taking some time. But depreciation expense down here I crossed out for a reason, which we'll get to it. Up here it should not be crossed out. Now also up here I've got payments of S&A expenses. This is going to track the cash payments. So up here is where they're budgeted. Here we go. Finally that came up. Those good old state assets. They just keep clunking along. Clunk, clunk, clunk. It's like a Commodore 64. There we go. Now I don't have the depreciation expense crossed out. Alright, so we got our selling and administrative budget. You got January, February, March, and we have all these expenses. Now if you look over here, hold on one second. There's a message from the dean. I better stop what I'm doing. Okay, back from that meeting. So if we look over here, I think this is where we were last time. We have all this given data. So we have some stuff here, and it looks like it's going to require us to look at some of these previous budgets. And what you'll notice when you're doing master budgets is that you're always going back to some prior budget. So we have commission expense, and it looks like we're doing commission expense as a percentage of sales. And it looks like we're going to pay it after the month we incurred. We'll get to what that means a little bit later. Miscellaneous expense is going to be a percentage of sales. Okay. And then we have all of these fixed expenses: salary, rent, depreciation, insurance, a little bit of payment data down here too. So relatively straightforward. This should be a fast video. Yay, fast videos. I know I'm taking 2% of sales. So I take that 2% and I multiply it by our sales. Where do we get sales? From the sales budget. So bear with me. I'm going to do some scrolling. There's your sales budget. And there's your January sales. And you want your total sales because you're paying people a commission on total sales. Now down here we have the same thing with miscellaneous expense, right? My miscellaneous expense is 5% of sales. I notice I'm putting those dollar signs around them. We'll get to that in a minute. And I'm going to multiply that by my sales, total sales. Hit enter. All right, got that taken care of. Now I don't have to keep scrolling around. I can just move these formulas. And notice they're going up about 10% a month because sales are going up 10% a month, so it works. It also makes sense to sum these because what people are going to ask you is, what were your sales what were your commissions paid or incurred for the quarter? And that would be a sum. All right, salary expense, $10,000. Fixed cost. So you could just do this. And rent expense is going to be the same way. Depreciation expense, same way. And your insurance expense. And of course they're asking for total payments. Except I don't like calling that payments because payments imply cash goes out. We call it expenses. Relatively straightforward there. I'm going to take this and drag it down. And I take that and drag it down, and that's going to carry all that stuff over. I'm going to drag this down, and it's going to sum all my rows. This will sum all my columns, and I've got my little crossfoot here, right? That's going to be 90, 987, 887. That's going to be 90, 887. Perfect. Everything's going well so far. Now here's the twist on, okay, so these are the costs that we've incurred. And these go on our books, right? This goes on our income statement, for example, as selling and administrative expenses. Well, here we care also about cash. Because just because we incurred something doesn't necessarily mean we're going to pay out for it, right? We got a bill on the first one, but here's where we're writing the check. So here we're paying the month after it incurred. All right, so for commissions, we know we're paying January's commissions in February. February's commission in March. March is going to be payable. That's a commissions payable. What are your January commissions? Well, we have to go to December sales, right? So what, do we have anything on December sales? Let's look up here. We do. We have December sales. Except something went totally wrong there. Okay, let's do that one more time. We have December sales. Should just be able to click on that. And we're going to multiply that by the commission expense. 2% of December sales paid in January. Same thing with miscellaneous expense, right? 5% of sales. Oh, no, actually, no. Miscellaneous expense. Now, usually you're going to have a little something on here saying payments are made. I'll put it up here. You'll always see this. Are made in the month of month incurred, unless otherwise, and hopefully it'd be spelled right, but not always, indicated. Your OE ending is probably going to be in like italics, right? Which means here they're saying it's paid in the month after, but here it doesn't say anything. Here it doesn't say anything. Here it says it's paid annually. So what we're saying here is these are going to be paid in the month incurred, which makes it really easy, right? You take the miscellaneous expense in January, you'll have no miscellaneous expense payable. You're paying it right away. Salaries expense will be the same thing. That cash is going out the month it's incurred. Rent expense will be the same thing. And actually, I think I can just drag down. Now, I have depreciation expense crossed out here. And I do that to demonstrate something. And there's a big trap on the S&A budget, and you'll all forget it, and you'll all get it wrong, and you'll all be mad. Depreciation doesn't involve any cash. Right? We don't pay cash for depreciation. It's just an accounting expense. So on the payments, nothing's going out. We're not actually writing a check for anything. So we leave cash for depreciation, payments for depreciation, blank. Or just don't have it in there at all. It's in here because it is an expense. It goes on our income statement. It doesn't cost us any cash. All right. Insurance expense. What's that insurance expense? Paid annually. So annually means once a year. So you take the 800, which is their monthly expense, times, if you remember, there's 12 months in a year, so you take times 12. So we're paying that in January, and it says January 1st right there. 0, 0. Not paying it again until next January. Which makes our cash a little bit lumpy, right? Because in January we're paying all this cash out the door. But we're going to pay a lot less in February, March because we're not paying that insurance expense. And you'll see that a lot. A lot of things are paid quarterly, monthly. So you have kind of a lumpy cash thing here. And it makes sense to sum these. And it makes sense to sum all of these because these are your expenses. Except, I'm not sure, I think I just clicked on something when I fell asleep. All right. Piece of cake. So here we're going to have a payable called commissions payable. And it's going to equal March's commission. So we're going to pay that in April. And we're also going to have prepaid insurance, which is going to be 9,600 minus 800 for January, minus 800 for February, minus 800 for March. Both of those things end up on the financial statements. All right, well, I am going to go ahead and make this a relatively short video. I think, yeah, I could probably squeeze the cash budget in, but let's not. Let's keep this focused. Let you guys mull over this for a little bit, and the cash budget, which is always a fun one, comes up next. Have a good one.